Way of the Wicked. So this movie stars Vinnie Jones and Christian Slater, and it's kind of a Carrie type of movie where we have a character called Robbie Mueller, who, when he was a young boy, kind of got involved with some bullies, and one of them sort of died in mysterious circumstances. Cut to 5 years later, and he's returning to high school, a bit of an outcast, and he kind of gets involved with this girl who he kind of knew beforehand, who is the daughter of Vinnie Jones's policeman character. And of course, she's a popular kid going out of the local hunk or what have you. And once again, sort of strange things starts to happen. And we suspect maybe that Robbie Mueller has some kind of psychic abilities, very much like Carrie here. And he's pursued by a priest played by Christian Slater, who thinks he might actually be the Antichrist. And it's a very slow burn story. Essentially, really sort of, you don't really know what's going on. You're not quite sure. We sort of, Christian Slater's character believes he's basically a kind of the resurrection of evil, and he's been foretold, but we don't quite know what's going on. And Vinnie Jones basically plays this kind of the cop father of this girl he's interested in, who isn't quite sure that he kind of believes Christian Slater's allegations. And as a viewer, we don't know what's quite going on. I mean, is he the spawn of Satan, or does he just have some kind of psychic powers a la Carrie and is really just being persecuted, or is it something else completely different? You won't know until the end of this movie. So this is, as I say, a very slow moving film. It's not a particularly gory film. There's not a lot of scenes of actual horror here. There is kind of one quite gruesome death, but it's pretty much shown off screen. But there are kind of a few sort of psychic attacks and things like that. So kind of, what's the movie like? Well, I didn't think it was a bad movie, I have to say. I thought the actual premise was quite interesting, and I was actually quite intrigued to see what the actual final outcome was. It's kind of a bit of a twist at the end, but I will say it did keep me entertained and wanting to find out what actually happened. I have to say I was less keen when I found out the actual full story, and it kind of feels like it may be it wants to have a sequel as well. Negative things about this movie, I have to say the acting was a little bit of a mixed bag. The guy who played Robbie Mueller, who was kind of, I guess, the main sort of central character really, was a pretty wooden actor. And I'm not sure if he was trying to just act kind of mysterious and kind of this kind of bit of a bad boy, but this came across as pretty wooden. Vinnie Jones as well, I've never thought was a particularly good actor. Obviously he's a football player turned kind of B-movie actor, and he pretty much plays a kind of the same role every time. I mean, he's playing a policeman rather than a kind of thug, but he still comes across as a thuggish policeman. So, and Christian Slater is obviously career has kind of dipped somewhat, shall we say. But overall, I think the actual premise wasn't too bad, and the kind of the idea here is actually quite intriguing. I don't think it quite lives up to its promise. Like I said, it's a little bit dull, a little bit slow moving, and there's not a lot in the kind of special effects range. But the actual story isn't too bad, aside from the kind of ending, which I didn't really like, and to me didn't make a lot of sense. And there are a couple of plot holes here. There's a couple of things when you kind of watch the whole film, you're going to think back and think, well, hang on a second, why didn't he react to this, and blah blah blah, and there'll be a few things that you scratch your head, it doesn't quite make sense now I kind of know the entire plot. But like I said, I've seen certainly worse films. This is a pretty much an average kind of more psychological sort of thriller type horror movie. Like I said, if you're a gore fan, there's not a lot to kind of really get a hold of here, apart from kind of one sort of relatively gory death, which actually most of it occurs off screen anyway. But nevertheless, I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.